Bien le bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue sur la chaîne de Fer, j'espère que vous allez bien. Nous commençons une nouvelle vidéo sur The Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition. Avant de commencer, est-ce que je peux dire quelque chose? Alors Stanley Parable, je crois que c'est de base un mode en fait, un peu Life ou de Gmod. Et il se trouve qu'ils ont fini par sortir le jeu en entier, ils ont sorti la version Deluxe, et je n'ai jamais fait le jeu de base. Oui, je sais, jetez-moi des pierres. Donc je me suis dit, allez, on fait une vidéo dessus, comme ça me donne l'occasion de découvrir. Avant de commencer, est-ce que je peux dire quelque chose? Merci d'avoir vraiment réglé l'heure les 2 fois où vous avez lancé le jeu. Alors oui, j'ai lancé le jeu une première fois pour tester si déjà il marchait, que la record détectait. Oui, c'est vrai. Tant de gens ne prennent pas cette étape au sérieux, ils laissent leur régler sur minuit et basta. Mais vous avez pris le temps d'indiquer l'heure et je vous en suis reconnaissant. Je sais ainsi que vous vous souciez de votre expérience, votre attention est focalisée sur le jeu. D'ailleurs, je n'ai aucun moyen de vérifier si l'heure que vous avez entrée est correcte. Je vais vous dire, nous allons passer un marché. Puisque vous faites preuve de tellement de bonne volonté, la prochaine fois que vous lancerez le jeu et verrez cet écran, vous n'aurez qu'à choisir votre heure préférée. Tout le monde va mettre 13h37. Allez-y, choisissez l'heure que vous voulez, même si ce n'est pas la bonne heure. Vous l'avez bien mérité. Sur ce, je vous laisse accéder au jeu. D'accord. Ah. Je vais baisser un petit peu le volume. En général, c'est beaucoup trop fort. 47, ouais, élevé, tac, ok, pas de souci. Commande, alors... Hop, Z, hop, QD, espace, nanana. Ok, bah ça me paraît good. Merci Lexy, non, on s'en fout, c'est pour les mains. Langue français activée, taille des sous-titres moyens. Voici comment seront affichés les sous-titres. On va laisser en moyen et zébardi.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, of every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Donc on joue Stanley et qui est l'employé 427. Je déteste les lundis. Comme c'est atypique dans un bureau.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Excusez-moi, je cherche les toilettes. Nope. Tiens, on peut pas sauter. C'est horrible, c'est des bureaux à perte de vue en fait. C'est quoi, vente ce trimestre? Il y a un petit bonhomme où il y a écrit Non. Projection, les ventes qui chutent.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Stanley décide d'aller à gauche. Ah oui, voilà. Et donc, tout le principe du jeu, c'est justement, on est confronté à des choix, et en fait, c'est Stanley et le narrateur. Je vais aller à droite.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Les aventuriers vont toujours à droite. Mais ça sort, là, c'est plus des bureaux. Ah.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Putain, on dirait un entrepôt où je vais me faire assassiner. Hein.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Mais moi, j'étais coincé dans le même bureau tous les jours. Hein. Mais c'est hyper grand. Alors, ne pas sauter du cargo pendant que c'est en train de bouger, vous risquerez d'avoir pénalité de mal utiliser le cargo, $1000, de se jeter du cargo, 5000. Il faut une carte.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Ok, je pensais pas que ça allait là-haut. Je me suis dit, ça se trouve, ça va se casser la gueule et on va mourir. Ok, donc le narrateur est un véritable personnage de l'histoire. Casse le 4e mur. Est-ce qu'il s'est adressé directement à notre personnage? Alors, pas de saut après cet endroit. Enfin, j'ai pas l'impression qu'on puisse porter des objets.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Est-ce qu'on le contredit jusqu'au bout?
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
No!
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You
Oui.
want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Ah, ça c'est typique d'Half-Life.
Nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
Oui.
Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Il va se passer quelque chose de mauvais.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Oh.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Compétitif.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective?
4 heures.
Notes on your experience.
J'ai pas la place sur le disque dur. C'est ultra relou. Je suis désolé bébé, mais je n'ai pas 4 heures de jeu. C'est terrible.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Un peu les deux.
The latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Non mais OMG quoi, c'est le narrateur qui décide.
Ah, fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
Je connais ce
Well, it
jeu.
seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a
Ah, c'est pas Firewatcher?
spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower.
Alors, j'avais au-dessus du poêle à bois, je suis pas fan par contre.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Mais... What? Mais attends, t'es en train de me dire que Firewatch c'était une blague dans Stanley Parable ou c'était vraiment prévu Il y a un jeu dans le jeu. Il n'y a pas de... Il n'y a pas de collider là sur la droite.
No, it can't be.
C'est trop cool!
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Non!
Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You could just go in any. Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here.
No!
Let's find another thing. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Le narrateur il aime les gros choix.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just
Putain, c'est Rocket League!
box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Si vous réussissez à se perdre, si je me jetais dans un but.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Nous donne la balle seulement maintenant. Si je me jette dans le bus.
Hold on. What are you doing?
Oh oh.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that.
On fuit le narrateur carrément. Oh là ça fait vraiment jeu d'horreur par contre. Eh oh. Je commence à regretter mes choix. Est-ce que je dois trouver d'autres vides? Je suis bloqué là, y a rien. Voilà, ça fait vraiment jeu d'horreur. Là par contre, ça fait vraiment amnésia. Ah, lumière en bouffe. Un ascenseur. Ah, c'est mon bureau. Je suis revenu au début du jeu. Que quoi? Oh.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
What? Ah, et on a fini une trame scénaristique en fait dans les choix. Oh, et ça va loin hein. Du coup, est-ce qu'on va avoir le choix de la troisième porte ou pas? Non. Allez, on va à gauche cette fois. Trouver cette salle de réunion.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Comment résoudre une dispute avec un collègue? Utilisez des PowerPoint pour assurer à vos employés que tout va bien. Tout le monde est unique. Vous, surtout la plupart d'entre vous. Oui, définition d'unique. Alors, nombre de... Merde. De clichés, en fait, d'images. Oh mon dieu. S'il vous plaît, plus de graphique. Alors, la minute d'appréciation du boss. Racontez les 20 choses préférées à propos de votre boss. Remplir un triple AK. Résoudre un problème interpersonnel. Oh mon dieu. Quels sont vos rêves pour le futur? Par la radio, mitosise. C'est quoi la mitosise? Moins d'air. Alors, astuce pour pas se faire virer par les moins. Bosser comme un dingue, ne pas se faire virer. D'accord. Oh. Oh.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Menteur, il y a des clés, surtout il y a un balai.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Upstairs, donc on va aller en bas. Oh. Mais on peut lire. Bonjour Laurie, je t'écris ceci pendant la... Alors, first period, je crois que c'est la première heure de cours en anglais. Et je l'ai laissé dans ton casier sur le chemin vers la seconde. C'est ce que font tous les enfants cool. J'ai décidé... Ouais, je suis obligé de me foutre la gueule dans mon écran. C'est quelque chose... Voici un dessin de chat sur une moto. C'est complètement con.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken
Ils sont tous morts en fait.
all because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment.
Ah,
No reason at all.
c'est un couloir d'infini.
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Oh.
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Whoa!
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now
Briser le quatrième mur.
describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
C'est vraiment un jeu interactif, hein. Enfin un film interactif pour le coup. Ouais.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Putain, le doubleur mérite son salaire.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Donc c'est dans notre tête. Tout ce qui se passe là, c'est dans notre tête. Ça va, voilà, on n'a pas perdu du temps en faisant ce chemin.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah, c'est fun, hein. Moi j'aime beaucoup les films interactifs, tu les fais une fois à gauche. Ouais, et normalement quand on prend la droite, on peut revenir sur ce chemin. Cette fois on va monter.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alors, être riche est-il un crime? Pour commettre des crimes n'est-il pas riche? Quelle vie ce serait si on en avait juste à choisir qu'un? À ne faire qu'un choix. Les pages beiges. C'est un gun sur la tête d'un panda. Je veux voir le panda. Stratégie d'affaire. Oh, ça descend, il va se passer des choses horribles. De toute façon, à chaque fois qu'on descend, il se passe des choses horribles. Donc on sait qu'on est en train de devenir fou. Enfin que tout ça, ça se passe dans notre tête. Une histoire courte des relations entre la Pologne et l'Austro-Hongrie. D'accord. Dans la musique. Recommandation Du comité... Alors, Oversight, je sais pas ce que c'est. Du comité de l'Oversight. Ah oh. D'accord, ça sert à rien. Bon, mais... let's go. Ah, il y a un piano.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Ah, il n'y aurait pas un autre code caché? Est-ce que c'est 2845 celui qui nous a donné le narrateur?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Attends, ça se trouve, il y a une autre combinaison que celle-là. Attends. On va cheminer, non?
2845.
Bon, je vais mettre le 5, sinon il va perdre patience.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Non, je veux pas descendre. Oh. Ah non, c'est un gros vide, y a rien. Oh, les bons vieux monts de charge comme ça.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Oh. Une mort violente? Mais j'ai hâte de découvrir ça.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Ah oui, je sais, j'ai vérifié.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
J'ai jamais dit que Stanley était pas dépressif, ni suicidaire. Ah.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
On peut pas sauter, Merde. Bon bah GG.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Stanley parabole.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
C'est vraiment le 4e mur, ce jeu.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Ah. J'avais dit que c'était dans notre tête. Hein. Les deux portes. Ces deux portes ouvertes constituent la toute première pierre du game design de Stanley Parable. Une fois que cette salle a été créée, le reste du jeu a émergé à partir de ce point de départ comme une exploration de la contradiction posée par cette pièce. Le couloir, le rythme de cette section d'ouverture devait être irréprochable. Ce couloir était placé pour modifié afin que le joueur soit sûr d'atteindre les deux portes au bon moment. Mais attends, on commence ici. Ouais. Ordinateur Stanley. Plan du bureau. Ce plan vous montre le bureau au début de la partie. Le chemin entre le bureau de Stanley et les deux portes est le tout premier chemin conçu dans le jeu. Des sections ont été ajoutées et modifiées au cours du développement, mais l'organisation générale est restée presque inchangée depuis la première itération. C'est vraiment le 4e mur en morceaux. Hein. Barre de rangement. Ventilateur de bureau. Son de bouton. Une sélection des sons entendus dans le jeu à chaque utilisation d'un bouton. Chaque son est un mélange de frappe au clavier de tonalités de synthétiseur. Ah ouais? Non, trop cool. non mais c'est les crédits, Stanley Parable, le remerciement. Basé sur l'œuvre de l'équipe de Stanley Parable 2013. Hein. 2013? Ah c'est vrai que je l'ai jamais fait. Hein. Je savais qu'il datait un peu, mais quand même pas à ce point-là. Bureau du chef. Capture d'écran du bureau du chef au cours du développement. Ouais, c'est vraiment la finale. Les couleurs et tout, ça pète pas mal. Hein. Attends, mais c'est un musée du jeu en fait. La salle de pause. Le sous-sol. Et on n'a pas vu Main Control Facility, c'est du spoil. Hein. Scène coupée de narration. Kevin Brighting, la voix du narrateur, a enregistré les dialogues du jeu entier à peu près 3 fois au cours des 2 années de développement. Voici des extraits des 2 premières prises qui ne figurent pas dans la version finale du jeu. Stanley marche à travers le pont. Et enfin, il poussa quoi? Un bouton? Non, c'est ça qu'il a dit? En tout cas, c'est les scènes qui peuvent pas nous spoil vu que c'est pas dans le jeu apparemment. Fin des libertés. Voici la toute première version de la fin de la liberté pour l'alpha du jeu. Ah, c'est les murs. C'est ce qu'on a fait, c'est ça. Bureau de compte à rebours. Pendant un moment, l'ascenseur de la salle des écrans pouvait monter ou descendre. La salle des écrans? Vous retrouviez la liberté en haut et le compte à rebours à retour en bas. Nous avons laissé tomber cette idée car les joueurs n'arrivaient pas à se souvenir de ce qu'il y avait en haut et en bas et préféraient regrouper ces deux fins. Tel qu'elle apparaissait dans la bêta. L'ascenseur de la salle des écrans. Celle du compte à rebours. What the fuck? Mais là, ils sont en train de me spoil en fait. Hein. Fin relaxante. Menu échappe. Pendant longtemps, nous avions une fin qui ne se finissait vraiment que lorsque le joueur recommençait depuis le menu échappe. Malheureusement, beaucoup de joueurs ont compris que ce qu'ils devait faire, ce qui s'est révélé frustrant pour tout le monde. Levier de la fin relaxante. Ces leviers se trouvaient dans la fin relaxante. Le joueur devait actionner un levier et le narrateur décrivait la couleur du levier choisi. What the fuck? Nous avons publié 4 bandes annonces lors du développement du jeu, chacune destinée à dévoiler un peu l'esprit du jeu. Voici la première sortie en mai 2012. Elle contient une série de pièces buggées et la voix du narrateur informant les joueurs qu'il est en train de réparer une nouvelle version de Stanley Parable. Putain, mais... Et je suis dans la salle bonus du jeu. Je sais pas, moi, il me disait la mort. Salle de réunion. Ah oui, voilà. Ça, c'est le début. Là, maintenant, c'est pour revenir. Alors, l'autre entrée cachée dépendrait comment... Comment est-ce qu'on entrait? Alors, une option, une porte vers une maintenance. Alors, lounge, c'est un peu un couloir hallway en quelque sorte. Vent. Voilà, votre vis. Oh, il y a une autre option. Si on fait droite, apparemment, il y a un... To coffin ending. De maintenance. Il était important de placer correctement les couloirs après les deux portes, car les joueurs allaient les emprunter plusieurs fois. Ils ont discuté d'un certain nombre de plans, mais finalement c'est la version la plus simple qui a fait l'unanimité. Ok. Ok, donc c'est bien, on a une info. On va essayer de trouver sur la droite le vent, donc la ventilation. Ah, exit. Attends, j'ai pas regardé ce qu'il y avait au fond. Enfin, je crois pas. Ah, mais ce que j'appelle le fond, c'était la gauche. D'ici. Ah, mais c'est gigantesque en vrai, quoi. Bureau de Stanley. De gauche à droite, l'évolution du bureau de Stanley au fil du temps. La première date de novembre 2011, de mars 2012 et février 2013. Ah, ouais. Beaucoup plus complet ici, ça fait vraiment bureau. Ouais, là, c'est trop ordonné. Avec le café, les petites feuilles, tout est ouvert. Mais c'est drôle hein, qu'il soit fait un petit musée dans le jeu, en fait, par rapport à leur jeu. Elle exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
On va essayer de trouver la vente.
Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save those two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Je me suis laissé mourir parce que je voulais absolument voir la fin de la ventilation. Ah mais il y a tellement de fins, c'est trop cool. C'est tellement cool quoi. Alors je ne sais pas c'est quoi la différence entre l'édition 2013 et celle-là. Parce qu'ils ont refait le jeu, il y a écrit Deluxe Edition et tout. C'est peut-être rajouter des choses. Alors, ventilation hein.
What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ventilation.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Là, ventilation. Peut-être qu'il y a un moyen de monter sur les tuyaux. Non, on peut pas sauter. Hein. Attends, je vais vérifier les commandes. On peut pas sauter, hein. Espace. J'appuie sur espace, il n'y a rien du tout. C'est bizarre, il nous parlait... Tiens, on va faire ça là. Apparemment, c'est la fin confus. La fin confusion d'après le plan de jeu.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Il va refermer.
No,
Enculé.
not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. You went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Le narrateur, il sait plus où donner. Ah, c'est ça la salle des écrans. Ah là, ça fait vraiment bad trip.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just get back to oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. This time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Abusé. J'ai pas trouvé le système de ventilation. Ça se trouve, c'est peut-être dans la salle de pause, donc faut peut-être vraiment commit à droite. Est-ce que c'était écrit sur le plan? Oh, quoi?
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
Fuck. Voilà, la fin confusion porte bien son nom, hein. La fin confus. Oh, c'est un labyrinthe. Oh, c'est un labyrinthe.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Oh putain.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Je me demande combien d'heures ils ont passé juste sur ce jeu, en vrai. Ah.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Ah, une porte qui est ouverte là-bas, non?
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story.
Alors, on tourne en rond.
No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Eh oh, là ça fait amnésia par contre.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the
J'ai vu
story?
ce plan, le bois comme ça.
I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Je vais jamais voir la ventilation.
Alright, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
C'est nouveau ça.
Just follow the line. How simple is that? You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
Elle a toujours pas fini la run.
Will wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story?
Oh, c'est
Simply
philosophique.
by act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Ta 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 la la.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
Allez voir la fougère.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story.
D'accord.
Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Ok, il y a un moment, il y a une fougère, faut faire attention. Ok, on cherche une fougère et des codes.
No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Mon Dieu, la fin confus. Oh, la ligne. L'aventure de la ligne.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Ok.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want the story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Oh non. C'est beaucoup trop de pression. Ah. Tiens donc. On va revenir au bureau, c'est ça. C'est sûr.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Le truc, c'est Alien, quoi.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Fin troublante. Oula. S'éloigner de la salle de maintenance, finir dans la salle des écrans, narrateur relance le jeu. C'est toute la trame scénaristique que j'ai faite en fait. Vous avez joué à la fin troublante pendant 17 minutes.
That's what this is. It's all one giant ending. And we're supposed to restart the game eight times? That's really how
Stanley meurt.
It's all determined.
Retrouver la ligne.
So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what?
Errer dans les ténèbres, trouver une librairie.
Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well,
Musique absurde.
insulted me.
Il parle pas de la fougère, hein.
Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you... Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to
vénère la fin troublante, hein, avec confusing ending.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art.
Putain, mais elle est où la ventilation, quoi?
Eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Bon, bah écoute, ça doit pas être là, hein. Ah, il y a une ligne là-bas. Attends, parce que moi je suis allé à droite. Si on tombe, on meurt. Il y a une porte là-haut. Là-haut, je suis jamais allé non plus. Ah merde.
Stanley left from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Fallait que je tente, il y avait une ligne en bas. Merde.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed.
Alors, on va essayer de se laisser porter tout en haut. Cette fois, on va pas sauter en cours de route, hein. D'accord? Oh. Fougère. Attends. C'est encore... C'est encore l'histoire actuelle. Ok. Fougère. Fougère, c'était dans un couloir comme ça. C'est bizarre, hein. Ça a changé pourtant. C'était pas du tout le couloir de base. C'est bizarre. Donc on doit trouver la fougère et chercher un code toujours. J'essaie de retenir la ventilation, j'ai abandonné. En vrai, ça se trouve c'était une version étape.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Ça fait trop Monster et compagnie là.
Your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself.
Ah, donc il y a une femme déjà qui est incluse.
To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Tiens, on découvre des morceaux de l'histoire. Oh.
That's her, Stanley.
Allô?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. Oh.
427, c'est ton appartement, c'est pas du tout ton bureau.
There we go. All right, now tell me all about
Your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on.
Oh putain.
Loving wife. They want to commit their life to you.
Ouf.
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story
Ah
now.
non, j'aurais essayé, c'est pas grave. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a à manger,
This is a
chérie?
very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Ah. Bonjour, employé 427. Appuyez sur X sur votre clavier.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Il se passe quoi si on n'appuie pas? Rien du tout, d'accord.
But in his mind, in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
On est juste une projection de la tête de Stanley quand il bosse en fait, et il se fait tellement chier.
Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
Alors c'est une projection sur la mort et la vie, et c'est le dernier à être vivant sur tous ceux qu'il connaissait avant.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill in many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls, and down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby, and he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Faut attendre combien de temps? Alors, 5e réunion du sous-comité des revenus d'analyse du comité royal de discussion des revenus. Bon, je l'ai appuyé.
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Ah, ou alors...
suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't.
Ou alors on est dans le coma et on est en train de rêver tout ça et on essaie de se réveiller.
The same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Oh!
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
Nouveau contenu.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Oh, il y a des fins qui se débloquent en fonction de ce que t'as fait avant. Ah, c'est trop cool.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Ultra
As you may know,
Deluxe.
The Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Ah, donc la motivation, c'était
The
l'argent.
Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Ah, donc ils ont bel et bien rajouté des choses. Ok.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Je rigole, on nous demande de payer un DLC.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
On peut sauter que ici. T'es sérieux, c'était pas dans le jeu de base le saut en fait. Le saut c'est uniquement dans le contenu supplémentaire de la version Ultra Deluxe. Mais non. C'est n'importe quoi. Bon. Merveilleux.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else.
Fougère?
Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Merci d'avoir apprécié le nouveau contenu.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In
Parle
fact,
de vous, la Blizzard.
now the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
D'accord.
What do you say, friend?
Oh. Ah.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent.
Ah, il y a véritablement une fin vente. On l'a enfin trouvé, la ventilation.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special, and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
2013, quand.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had
Ah, mais ils avaient vraiment une
Back
boîte.
then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Putain, c'est le deuxième musée à propos du jeu, quoi. J'avais même pas fait la démo de ce jeu. Il est britannique, le mec qui a fait le jeu. Oh, c'est vraiment un jardin Tai Chi, quoi.
Is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Le remake original. Fuck. J'ai jamais vu ça le vélo.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Salle sérieuse, 2013.
Oh, these were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
Ah, Steam Reviews, c'est que des gens qui l'ont enfoncé, c'est ça, non?
God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Vu la gueule de la zone, ça a pas l'air. Ah. Oh, il y en a un qui s'est fait noter directement, quoi.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Le nouveau contenu, c'est que le narrateur et les développeurs en fait qui parlent sur les recommandations et tout.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy, honestly you can. Oh goodness, this is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't.
En plus, il y a leur pseudo et leur,
What an awful memory.
leur image de profil en plus, quoi.
These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
On va se prendre une marée de rouge, c'est ça, non?
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to
Ils aiment pas la
stop
voir.
anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happened. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you with just... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe...
Oh, c'est pour ça qu'il y a une horloge, j'étais là, putain, c'est quoi ce bruit?
Unendurable by any means. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls.
L'arbre va mourir ou il va pousser.
And there's... Oh, Stanley.
Ouais.
You're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking, you saying nothing. Would you?
On va jamais se réveiller.
Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved?
Il n'y a plus de narrateur, il est mort. C'est un bouton pour passer notre vie, c'est ça? Putain, mais... Comment le développeur, il s'est vengé sur la personne qui lui a dit ça, quoi.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point.
Voilà, c'était sûr.
To the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to...
Mais cette fin, elle est interminable. Un jour, peut-être que je ferai le véritable chemin.
The end is never the end, 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 is never...
Faut que je relance depuis le menu, c'est ça, non? Ah oh. Et on commence à passer plusieurs années en fait. Logiquement on devrait pouvoir s'en aller. Il y a tout qui va s'effondrer. Ouais. Du soleil dans nos cœurs. C'est vraiment tout poussé à l'extrême, j'adore quoi. Du verre, les fougères. Je suis une fougère. Je suis une fougère. Oh. Non, on peut jamais sortir. Ah. Il y a une bestiole. Oui, du soleil dans nos cœurs. Fuck.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to...
Bon, bah retournons essayons de faire la véritable fin. Non, 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 non. Ah, nouveau contenu. Non. On va essayer de faire le jeu de base. Allez, gauche. Salle de réunion. Ah, c'est vrai que j'ai pas tenté... J'ai tout de suite pris la vente. J'aurais pu aller tout droit aussi. Alors, hop. On fait le 2, 8, 4, 5. On n'a pas eu de fougère ni de code, hein. 2, 8, 4, 5. Parce que je sais plus jusqu'où on avait été.
Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
Ah, ils prennent en compte le fait qu'on rush.
He relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Je me souviens pas du choix qu'il y avait après. Il y a tellement d'embranchements que j'avoue, là, j'ai un peu de mal à retenir si c'est un chemin que j'ai déjà fait ou pas. Ah mais non, c'est l'usine de contrôle mental. Oui, on n'était pas allé en face, on était allé direct à gauche. C'était le musée à gauche. Mais ça, on l'a pas fait. Donc on a le vent. Ah. Oui, nous, on apparaissait en haut. Donc il faut que je retienne vent dans le nouveau contenu. C'est qui a été viré.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Il n'y a qu'un seul qui a été viré. Le 104. Comment ça se fait qu'il n'y a que le 104 qui a été viré? Oh, on va peut-être pouvoir s'en servir plus tard, ça. 104. Il n'y en a pas d'autres qui ont été virés. Hein. Ok, 104, il y a peut-être un truc. Non, lui, il a été viré aussi. 104 et 601. 104, 600.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ah. La suite est en haut. J'ai fait un 2. Ah, c'est pas ouvert. Main control Linux. Awaiting input. J'ai un 5 ici. Ah, il y a un bouton là. Ah, c'est le 3, nickel. Ça doit être le 4 qui est en haut. Non, c'est toujours pas ouvert. Hein. C'est forcément le 4 qui est en haut. J'ai fait le 1, 2, 3. Le 4 il peut être qu'en haut. 0, 521. Il n'y a pas de 0. Bon, tant pis, on va ici. Ça se ferme pas. Peut-être que le 4 il est là, non?
And when at last he found the source of the room's power,
Oups.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
Très philosophique.
No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know.
Et les petits murs en pierre.
The only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Enfin une bonne fin. Il était temps.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either.
On va essayer de faire qu'est-ce qui se passe si jamais on la rallume. Est-ce qu'on retrouve nos collègues?
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
On n'a même plus besoin de taper. Je m'attendais tellement à ce qu'il y ait un autre code, je suis trop déçu, quoi. Oh, j'ai pas essayé de taper 0521. Ah oui, mais il m'a coupé l'herbe sous le pied, donc ça se trouve, c'est impossible.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
C'était 104 et 601. Ceux qui ont été virés. Ouais, c'est bon, j'ai perdu. Il y a des bureaux qui ont pas de numéro aussi. J'ai pas réussi à remettre le jus. Hein. Comment on est censé faire? J'avoue que je suis trop curieux, quoi.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Never.
It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life.
Il y a une porte ici, on a l'air de pouvoir l'ouvrir en plus.
Dismantle the controls once and for all.
Comment est-ce qu'on ouvre cette porte ici, quoi? Parce qu'on a le 1, 2, 3. Enfin, 1, 2, 5, pardon. 1, 2, 3, 5. On n'a pas le 4. Le 4, il est en haut. Mais la porte s'ouvre pas. Faut peut-être mettre le jus. Oh, ça m'étonnerait.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Ah!
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much
C'est
better
ouvert
than
maintenant?
that.
Non.
I'm afraid you don't
Putain.
have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode,
D'accord.
eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's
Là, c'est
your
ouvert.
story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is.
3.
More time to talk about you.
Pitié, dis-moi que c'est un 4 en haut.
Where we're going. What all this means.
Ça a l'air d'être un 4.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
4.
A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you
Ils ont
free.
été effacés, nos collègues.
Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
La porte ouverte.
Other times, I let the office sink
No!
to the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know
Tout
what?
violet.
To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley?
Je suis daltonien.
Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what
Correct.
you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume
Un
when you saw
bleu.
the timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean,
Ils sont gentils de m'avoir donné du temps
running from
supplémentaire.
button to button, screen to
Hein?
screen, clicking on every little thing in this room.
Putain, le bleu, j'ai appuyé dessus il y a quelques secondes.
Everything, anything, something here will save me. Do
Incorrect.
you think that, Stanley? That this video
3
game
bleus.
can be beaten? One solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
3.
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment.
Putain, mais je suis daltonien, hein.
That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a
C'est
challenge.
bon, j'ai plus le temps.
It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
Au revoir, employé
Take a look at
427.
the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here.
Mais j'ai ouvert la porte.
Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of
Où est le gros bouton?
life from the moment we faded.
Il y avait un gros bouton tout à l'heure, il est où?
Happily ever after.
Oh putain. C'est pas juste.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Oh putain, c'est trop long de refaire tout le chemin en plus.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
C'est 1000 fois trop long. Ah!
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his coming to a staircase. Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ah c'est bien, c'est déjà ouvert.
Here's the door, just
C'est gentil. Merci bien. Si tu pouvais faire exactement la même chose pour les caméras maintenant, ça me ferait gagner beaucoup de temps sur la vidéo et le montage. Ce serait très gentil à vous.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this
Non,
place
c'est
hold?
pas accéléré. Ah!
Did he have the strength?
Faut encore tout refaire. Ah!
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No.
Allez,
He
plus
refused
vite.
to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It
Never.
was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or
Putain, j'y
sad
crois pas quoi, j'ai
or
pas trouvé le gros bouton, ça se trouve il était là.
Eating, working, all of it monitored
Et les boutons
and
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 servent à rien en fait.
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Si.
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Ça a pas bougé.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and
Je
leave.
vais faire le
If you want to throw my story off track,
Deux.
you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear
Je speedrun
detonations
now.
will explode,
Oh,
eliminating
allez.
the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you.
faire le 5, voir si ça ouvre vraiment la porte. Ah, la porte est déjà ouverte. Se taper 1, 2, 3, 5, ça a rien fait.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated.
Ok. Du coup, ça n'a pas du tout ouvert la porte.
You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it,
Ou alors
I simply
3,
let you
c'est
sit
peut-être
there
le nombre de
in
fois que je dois
your
appuyer.
pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink
Correct.
into the ground,
5
swallowing
verres.
everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this though, this version
Quel verre est là?
has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
5.
But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left.
Le
But
verre
I'm
était juste
enjoying
là.
this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
Est-ce que c'était du
These are
verre, ça?
precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Correct. 3 bleus. Non mais putain, ils sont chiants, hein.
Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
Pourquoi tout est vert ici?
Assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it on.
Mais...
I mean, look at you, running from button to button.
Où était le gros bouton qu'il y avait écrit fail safe dessus? Il est plus du tout là.
No, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save
Correct.
me. Why would you think that, Stanley?
Un bleu.
That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Je comprends pas.
How many times will you replay this bit, looking desperately for a solution? 10? 100? 1,000? I look forward to finding out and to watching the bomb go off each time you fail. Just you and me and the retching explosion of fire and metal over and over and over for all of eternity. And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle.
Mais il y avait un bouton avec écrit fail safe. Genre, il est introuvable maintenant. Putain, t'es sérieux, je vais vraiment mourir. Mais je l'ai vu sur mon écran en plus. Mais putain. Mais fais chier. Bon bah tant pis, hein, j'y arrive pas. Hein, j'ai pas envie de tryhard pendant des heures dessus. Ça se trouve c'est prévu pour être impossible. J'avoue que là je ne sais pas. Je ne sais pas du tout les amis. Bon le new content.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how
Ok, donc on va essayer de taper l'autre ventilation. Enfin, l'autre choix avant la ventilation. Oh! Oui, du nouveau contenu! La fin qui ne finit jamais et la fin encore.
This far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions. Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel, an entirely new experience built from the ground
Bienvenue
up.
investisseur.
Why there are so many possibilities? It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Oui.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean?
Il se fout de sa gueule.
Parable 2. Now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising
Qui a
potential.
pris le marqueur rouge? Moi.
Now to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's
Les suites,
take
c'est
a look
bien.
at some of the features.
Oh, il a des bons...
I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of
Il y a des bonnes refs, hein.
that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll
Quel
all
très bon
work
jeu.
itself out. Game development is
Et un
much
bon
more
film
like
aussi.
fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
De toute façon, s'ils ont fait le choix de faire la version ultra deluxe et pas le 2, c'est que c'est probablement une blague à l'intérieur.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
Le saut de réassurance. Décoration de bureau. Le saut de réconfort. Le bouton qui dit le nom du joueur qui joue au jeu. Sans déconner. Entendez votre nom dans le jeu. Et ça va juste dire nom du joueur, une connerie comme ça.
I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you roleplay as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving
repense
to
à
work
Jim
as
de
Jim.
Parks and
Or
Recreation.
maybe on the weekends as Jim. Staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim. Developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim. Rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim. And finally, dying a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see! What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you! Do it again! Do it again!
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time.
Et le narrateur, il mérite une augmentation, sérieusement.
It would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy! Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Non. La suite, elle est nulle. Je peux même pas dire Jim plusieurs fois. Oh.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Ah. Le succès gratuit, facile. Oh non.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Achievement. Merch. Plein de choses à regarder en vrai. Du coup, la fougère, non? Ça marche juste.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still...
Oh.
I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel. To at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Get well someday, ça veut dire rétablis-toi un jour.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th
Ah, le bâtard.
step-niece it is. Or actually...
La step-niece, c'est ta belle-nièce, en fait.
No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Enfoiré. Attends, tac tac tac, ici on a fait... Ray Trace, c'est le même couloir. Chelou. Oh, ça a changé. Vous avez entendu Jim dans le jeu. Le bouton qui dit Jim. Hein. Ah, c'est vrai, ça s'est changé. Trop cool. Ici, on a fait... Tac, ça c'était l'épilogue. Ah, le trou infini, on n'a pas fait. Attends, faut repasser de l'autre côté. Il nous reste le saut aussi à faire. On n'est pas monté là. Vous pouvez les trouver. Oula.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
La 6. Oh.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Oups. Déjà là ici. Tac. Au bout, on n'est pas allé par contre.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever.
Un peu comme Portal quoi.
Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerate.
Ah, je le savais.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by...
On se retrouve à 2 heures.
What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the whole...
C'est pour ça que le jeu te demande l'heure au début, non?
Don't you put this on me? Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the whole mostly infinite?
C'est le chiffre 2 en fait partout.
Go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
En tout cas, ils ont l'air de s'être bien marrés. Hein. Alors il y avait une porte ici, mais je sais pas si on va pouvoir y accéder. Juste en dessous là. Nope. Ok, on a fait le trou. Ah, il nous reste le seau. Le seau pour se rassurer. Tiens, on peut monter là. Paramètres champion du monde. D'accord. Il est vraiment unique comme jeu, hein. Vraiment c'est... Est-ce qu'on peut vraiment appeler ça un jeu? C'est plus... Ouais non, vraiment un film interactif, hein. Moi c'est vraiment une catégorie de jeu que j'aime beaucoup. Que peu de gens apprécient par contre, parce qu'en fait, bah c'est... Moi c'est l'expérience unique qui me plaît.
That it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal.
J'aurais tellement voulu que le seau tombe et ça renverse le monde.
You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes.
Une douleur dans la nuit.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Il va jamais le sortir le 2. Hein. C'est un peu la blague de la version Ultra Deluxe. Et du coup... Ah si, on peut sortir. Bon bah j'ai trouvé qu'une statue.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Je pense qu'on a tout vu, mais je sais pas où aller. Jump Circle on l'a fait. Achievement on l'a fait. Le gym on l'a fait. Merch on a vu, il s'est rien passé. Settings World Champion. Le saut de rassurance on l'a fait. Office Decoration. Quoi? Attends. Epilogue on l'a fait. Collectibles on l'a fait. Exit. Vous êtes ici. Putain, heureusement qu'il y a un plan parce que j'aurais tourné un bon moment avant de la trouver.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to?
Oui.
Ready to move on now?
Fougère.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready?
Attends, ça va être
Here
what the
it
fuck?
is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go, version 2.
Oh là.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't
L'épilogue qui est dans la
a
boîte.
game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply...
C'est comme ça qu'il sort la version
insert
Deluxe.
a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and
Il t'explique comment il a créé la version Ultra Deluxe en fait, c'est ça globalement.
I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, this is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Mais non. Mais ils sont sérieux? Non, c'est un troll. C'est obligé, c'est un troll.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building.
Mais non.
He was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to...
Non.
All of his code was gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
Ah, c'est pour forcer les gens à refaire le jeu, pour trouver les statuettes et tout. Pour que ceux qui ont déjà fait le jeu, en 2013, ils aient des choses à revoir et à refaire. C'est ça.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew?
Attends, mais ça relance toutes les sections en fait. Est-ce que le saut le guidait?
This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Ah merde, il y avait une statuette au fond, quel connard!
The elevator raced downward. plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket
C'est
walked
ridicule.
straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed
Putain, j'ai
with
dû louper
television
tellement de
screens.
trucs en vrai.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Ça change tous les dialogues du narrateur qui dit Stanley, ça rajoute et le saut.
Jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock.
C'est ça.
Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything
Tiens,
would be
234, il y a un truc aussi.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never!
Donc il a vraiment refait un jeu juste pour le saut,
His
quoi.
one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this
Je
very
vais passer une
place.
vie heureuse avec le saut.
The cold reality of his past began to sink in. Stanley decided that this machine... Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and...
Ah,
Well, wait, what was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calm presence of the needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket.
avoir le saut, ça change les fins.
Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms, not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room, but at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Mais non. Mais avoir le saut, ça crée des fins supplémentaires qui étaient déjà faites.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Ok les amis, eh ben, je pense que Je vais m'arrêter ici, parce que faut vraiment que je mange. J'ai déjà commencé à taper dans la bouffe, là, parce que là, vraiment, j'en peux plus. J'ai poussé un maximum mon horaire, mais là, là c'est plus possible. J'espère que cette vidéo découverte sur Stanley Parable de Deluxe Edition vous aura plu. C'était la chaîne de Fer, et naturellement, je vous dis ciao, à la prochaine!